g of f of x, which is g of x minus 5. Remember, now I look at g. G says this. Now this and this have to be the same. That's it. Now see, there was not one meeting in which we did not discuss something like this that we discussed on the first day of classes. Squaring such a binomial instead of just foiling it all the time. So that's why I insisted, but of course I accept other ways. Good, so when we square x minus 5, what do we get?
X squared minus 10x plus 25.
Awesome, thank you. And now I can distribute. 3x squared minus 30x plus 75 minus 5 is plus 70. So then g comp f of 0 now, can anyone give us?
70.
That's it.
So for f comp g, we're really just putting g as that, and then
For f comp g, we put g into f, yes, because g is the first function.
okay, so you put like the last one like in the first letter. Does that make sense?
So here, for f is the first function and g is the second one.
Yeah. Okay, so you put f into g for the second one.
I put f into g, yes.
Okay.
Very good. Number 4. We have a function h of x, which is the 6th root of x to the 7th minus 4. And they want an inner and an outer. You can name them the way they ask you to name them or any other way. It doesn't matter to me. Just give me the inner and the outer. Let's start with the inner. Awesome. And now the outer, once this becomes one number, the 6th root of x. Everything okay? Yes? Okay, next problem. In the next problem, we are asked to determine the inverse function of 7x minus 1, find the domain and range, and graph f inverse and the function f on the same coordinate system. So what do I have to start with? Awesome. So first I have to replace f of x by y by 7x minus 1, and then I interchange, indeed. And in step 3, what do? I solve for, indeed. So I'm adding 1 and dividing by 7. So x plus 1 divided by 7 will be our y. So for final step, I just replace y now, as I did from the beginning with y and f. I replace this y by the notation f inverse. Any questions?
Did you skip number 4?
I skipped 4.
I
did?
No, you didn't write it, like, you didn't clarify on the paper that you did it. You, like, wrote it a little sideways of it.
You mean for this one?
Yeah, it's like right there. But
So that's the inner and that's the outer.
It's a little close to the last question.
Okay, so now can anyone identify the domain of function f? Of course, it's a linear function. Can anyone identify the range of function f? The range of function f.
You make x 0, right?
The range. Just picture the graph. Yeah, it's a line. The domain and range are both everything. And the same thing, this is also a line. So the domain of f inverse and the range of f inverse, they're both all real numbers. Good. So now let's graph. Let's graph the function and then graph its inverse. So let me remind you, we are graphing 7x minus 1. When x is 0, y is, very good. So the ordered pair is, perfect. Now when y is 0, so now let's replace y by 0. 0 equals 7x minus 1. I will move negative 1. I have 1 equals 7x, or x equals 1 over 7. What is the ordered pair now?
1, 7, 0.
So let's graph. If you say, how will you graph 1/7? I'll say, no clue, but I'll figure it out. And I would probably try to convince you that that is 1/7. So I'm hoping that you will allow me to convince you that this is 1/7. So I hope I don't have to bribe you for that. So this is f of x, 7x minus 1. What do I have to graph next before I graph the inverse? Mandatory. There is something I have.
Like the line.
Y equals, exactly, thank you. Very good. Every time we graph a function and its inverse, we have to have the axis of symmetry. They are symmetric with respect to this line. Awesome, thank you. And now, without any calculations, I would like you to give me 2 ordered pairs so I can graph the inverse. Exactly. So let's discuss this. Thank you. If the function takes 1/7 to 0, what will the inverse function do?
0.
Is that clear? If the function connects 0 to -1, what will the inverse function do? Right. So if the point 0, -1 corresponds to the function, the point -1, 0 has to correspond to the inverse. Thank you, Deborah. So 0, -1, -1, 0. It has to be symmetric right here on this side. And the distance between these 2 points must equal the distance between these 2 points. Otherwise, they will not be symmetric. And of course, the same. This point does not go anywhere because this is like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. If you reverse it, it's still going to be the same thing. And this point is right here. So this is f inverse of x, x plus 1 over 7. Very good. Any questions here? Any questions? Any questions? Anyone? Is this okay? Okay. You should not be confused. You'll see in a moment why. You're going to answer your own question in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds or less, you are going to answer your own question. Good. So in the next problem, we are given 2 tables. We're not given F, we're not given G. Okay? So where do we start? Definitely, we start with?
You have to start at G. Take G to 8.
Good. How much is G of 8?
-6.
Awesome. So this is -6. So now I'm asked to find F inverse of -6, correct? Yes? Perfect. I don't have any information about F inverse, correct? There is no table for F inverse. You agree?
There is.
For F inverse.
No.
No. So now let's think. There is some number that the function, when the function f is applied to, it will have to return -6. Because what I'm interested in is applying f inverse to -6 and getting that number back. So the function is applied to whatever, and the result is -6. The inverse function is applied to -6 and has to return the same thing. So that's exactly what we did here a minute ago. We said if the function goes from 0 to -1, when I apply the inverse function to -1, what do I have to get? Not a cell phone, but so when I apply f inverse to -1, what do I have to get? I have to get 0, right? One more time. Let's do this one more time. I think it's not clear. So when I apply f to 0, I get -1. When I apply f inverse to -1, what do I have to get? Absolutely.
I thought it would be -1 times 0.
Yes, but it's the same thing. When I apply f to 0, I get -1. When I apply f inverse to -1, I have to get 0. Is that okay, everyone? So then coming back here, what should the answer be? Let's take a look carefully. We're only looking at the table for f.
Which would be 7.
Exactly. There is no other way. So if the function is applied to 7 and returns -6, when I apply f inverse to -6, where does it have to go? There is no way other than 7. The function is 1 to 1. So both functions are 1 to 1. So there is no other way. If the function is applied to 7 and returns -6, the inverse function applied to -6 must return 7. Is that better?
Mhm.
Good.
I got
Awesome.
7 the first time I did it.
I'm sorry?
I got 7 the first time I did it. I just wasn't sure if that was.
That's fine. Great. Okay, for number 7, we are given 2 points. -4, -4, and 5, -3. We're asked to find the distance. Please remember the distance formula is the same, pretty similar, very similar to the equation of the circle. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. I recommend label them. I recommend writing underneath 5 and -4, -3 and -4. I recommend perform the calculations. And one more time, we are not going to see on this test or the final exam something like the distance is the square root of -47, correct?
No.
Correct. Good. Because this is a positive number no matter what, it's squared. This is a positive number no matter what because it's squared. And we're adding 2 positive numbers. Is this correct? Okay, so we're not going to see this. Okay? Good. 5 -4, or 5 minus -4. 9 squared, please. Excellent. Thank you. Plus. -3 minus -4. One more time. -3 minus -4. 1. 1 squared. 1. So the distance is the square root of 82. And you can approximate it, whatever that is. Problem 8.
What's an order? Oh, that's a midpoint.
Find the midpoint of the line segment with the given endpoints. -4, -7, and -1, -8. The midpoint formula. Yes, let's add them up. -4 minus 1, let's add them up. Negative. Very good. -5 divided by 2. Let's add these up. -15 divided by 2. That's it. Any questions? Yes? It's the average of x values. We add up the x values and divide by 2. And the average of y values, we add the y values and divide by 2. Any questions here? Is this okay? Yes? Okay, very good. We are given a center. Which is -3, 4, and the radius, which is 5. We're asked to write the equation of the circle with this center and radius. So remember, always write the formula so you don't forget. Same thing with the distance formula. If you remember, that's what we did. What did we do? We developed the equation of the circle from the distance formula. Just that one has a square root and the other one we prefer it without the square root. That's all. Yes, I'm ready. Sorry.
Is that pi or r?
This one?
No, the r's.
Radius. I'm ready? Yes. Very good. Problem 10 we just did at the beginning of the class. Let's move on to 11. X to the 5th plus 10x to the 3rd minus 11 over x minus 1.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Oh, wait, no, I was just asking for the equation. It wasn't asking for you to solve it.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out how to solve it. I couldn't.
No, no. If you remember, let me refresh your memory on the equation of the circle. We have 3 types of problems. One, we are given the center and the radius, find the equation. The second one, you are given the equation, find the center and the radius. And the third one is that whole thing when we have to complete the square for 2 variables, one for x and one for y. There is nothing else. And you may be asked to graph. Do you want me to graph this? So if we want to graph this circle, we start by graphing the center. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly. 4 points. Cardinal points. East, west, so north, south, and then I just connect. That's it. So 5 units away because the radius is 5. So this is 3, 4, 5. This is 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm begging you to say that this is a circle. Thank you.
Lovely egg.
Yeah, more like an ellipse, right? Okay, good. So we're asked to use synthetic division for this. Can I use synthetic division?
Yes.
Yes, I can. Why?
Because it has
The denominator is x minus a number or x plus a number. Degree 1, no leading coefficient other than 1. Because if it's other than 1, there is an extra step in there. Good. So then what do I put in the box? Indeed. And now carefully, what is the degree?
5.
Okay. How many terms will I have to write? 6. Right. So remember, if it's degree 1, 2 terms. If it's degree 2, 3 terms. Right? If it's degree 5, 6 terms. So the leading coefficient is 1. The next one is?
0.
Perfect. The next one is?
10.
The next one is?
0.
The next one?
-11.
So degree 2,
Oh, yeah.
degree 1, and degree 0. Bring down 1. That's the mandatory step. We have to bring down the leading coefficient. And now we multiply 1 by 1 and we write the answer. What is the answer? 1. Then we add 0 to 1 and we get an answer.
1.
We're multiplying 1 by 1
1.
and we add these 2 and we get an answer. 1 times 11. We get another answer. And then 1 times 11. And we get 11. And then 1 times 11. And what do I put in the box? Of course.
a lot of ones.
A lot of them. Yes. Now here's the question for you. Is x minus 1 a factor of the numerator or not?
Yes.
Why? You guys are too good. So now remember, degree 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. What is the degree of the answer? 4, correct? Good. So then this has to be very good. Plus.
It should be x to the third.
But if it's 3, 2, 1, 0, then what do I do with this? I'm dividing degree 5 by degree 1. The result must be 4. There is no other way. So x to the fourth, x to the third, plus 11x squared, plus 11x, plus 11. Very good. Next problem.
So even if it's like in the original equation, it's 10x to the third. After divide, it's x to the third.
So if the top has degree 3 and the bottom has degree 1, the result will have degree 2. Always because we copy the base and subtract the exponents. From degree 5, we subtract degree 1. Very good. Next problem. We are given a polynomial function, which is f of x, negative x to the fourth plus 25x squared. And we basically want to show everything about it. You don't even have to read the requirements. You just have to create the table or present everything that we put in the table in a different format that you like. It doesn't matter. You don't have to read any of this. It's not important. Because you have to show everything we showed in class. In any order you want. In any format you want. But everything has to be on your scratch paper. So obviously you know what I'm going to do first. And what I'm going to do first is this. It's a must. And I will continue factoring. Plus 5. This is, I need both formats. I need this format as well as this format. And then I will get the table going. And don't forget about symmetry. So you should look at those requirements just to make sure that you didn't omit anything or didn't forget anything. But other than that, I don't care for what's written there. So this is negative infinity to infinity because it's a polynomial. What is the end behavior? What degree, what polynomial? Yes, so you will compare it to either this with a positive leading coefficient, which is x squared, or this with a negative leading coefficient. It's negative indeed. So always remember, the polynomial has to be presented in descending order. It may not be given to you in descending order. So don't make any decisions before you present it in descending order, factor it, so you have it ready for x-intercepts, and do the prep work before you decide the next step. Okay, so we have the domain, we have the end behavior. Now I need the x and y intercepts. So I make y equal to 0, and I get negative x squared, x minus 5, x plus 5 equals 0. The legwork is done already. So let's identify the degree so we know exactly how many solutions we need. 4. The degree is 4. What is the maximum possible number of turns? Yes. Good. So then you will give 4 solutions. Careful with that negative in front, not to say that it's negative 0 or something. Who knows? Okay. So 4 solutions, please.
2 zeros, -5.
Very good. So x equals 0 multiplicity 2. X equals 5 multiplicity 1, and x equals negative 5 multiplicity 1. I put them in the chart. 0, 0, negative 5, 0, and 5, 0. What does multiplicity 1 indicate? And I have to write my note on top of the table. Multiplicity 1.
Cross.
What does multiplicity 2 indicate? Very good. The last thing I need, so one more time, this problem you should not spend more than 3 minutes on it, please. The last thing that I need to determine is the symmetry. So I will replace x by negative x. Here's the function. When I change this into negative x, these two into negative x, the fact that the powers are even, will that change anything? No. So can I already say that this function f of negative x is identical with the function itself? Because negative x will not change anything. When I take it to the fourth power, it will still be x to the fourth. When I'll take it to the second power, it will still be x squared. Should I show this? Is it clear? So the function is even, which means symmetry with respect to x. Excellent. So whatever I graph in the first quadrant, I don't have to worry about the other one. I just copy it because I know it's symmetric. Good. So that's all I need. So let's look at the table and graph the function. Does this function have asymptotes? Why? Because it's not a rational function, right? It's a polynomial function. It's defined everywhere. Perfect. Good. So I plot -5, 0. I plot 5, 0, and 0, 0. So let's look at the table. The table says it's coming from negative infinity, crossing at -5, 0. It has to have a turn because it comes back and turns at 0, 0. And then this side is identical. So from negative infinity crossing at -5, 0, it turns because it comes back to turn again at 0, 0. And this side is a copy of this. So from negative infinity crossing has to have a turn, has to come back and turn again, and this side has to be identical. I will not be able to make it identical. You know that. But it has to be. Not close enough, but that's all I could do. So now with the graphing calculator, I will be able to determine this max. And once I determine this one, I don't have to determine that one. Why? Right. So if I say that this is at 3, 2, what will that be? Right. So that's the beauty of symmetry. So let's put it in y equals negative x to the fourth plus 25x squared. And let's see, I will start with a standard viewing window. I have no idea how high that is. I won't be able to even give you advice. I have no idea. So let's click on zoom 6, and we'll see in a minute. It's way up there. Okay? So I will go to the viewing window.
How do you adjust the viewing window?
Yes.
What's the trick?
Very good. I graph the function.
Right.
I know -5 and 5. I know 0, right? So on the x-axis, between -7 and 7 is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is no action under the x-axis. Why would I go more than -4? I can't see anything anyway. So I will go as high as I can up because I don't know where the max is. So there is no particular science for that. I graph the function. I have the graph in my head already, but I don't know how high it is.
Right.
So I'm going to say -7 to 7. Scale of 1 is okay. Y minimum -4 is more than I need. And Y maximum, I have no clue. According to this, is way up there. So I'm going to say 500. I don't know. With a scale,
do that and it's
maybe you put the negative or it's.
well, it didn't happen now. It's
Oh,
just sometimes.
Okay.
Not to
the router say anything over you. If you do zoom 0, it's zoom fit, and it'll adjust.
I thought we tried that last time, and it didn't work on the software. I thought.
It might not work.
Okay,
So
well after class I will let you play with it.
Oh, scales 100. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Zoom 0.
Zero.
Just a zero.
Okay, so obviously 500 was way up there, but it's okay, it's fine as long as I can see it. So it's between -5 and 0. I'm going to determine that maximum with second and calc. I want the maximum, which is number 4. So I want between -5 and 0. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please. -3.5. So if this one is -3.53, comma 156.25, can anyone give us the other one, please? 3.53, thank you very much. 156.25.
Can you like see what's wrong with that calculator?
Say it again.
Can you like see what's wrong with that
Yes.
calculator?
Say it again.
Are you gonna ask us to?
Yes, just for you. That's
It's like the minimum like a 7
yeah. Maybe you put this instead of this. I don't know. No. 7. Scale 1. -4. 500. Okay. Let me see. It's okay, and it's not graphing.
Not showing. Of course you can do that.
That's okay. It's just a special touch that I have to calculate. Okay. Any questions here? Any questions here? Okay. Perfect. Moving on. Okay, here's our favorite example. Okay, look at this. So it models the pH level after we eat sugar, X minutes after we eat sugar, right? Good. So it says use a graph to obtain a reasonable estimate to the nearest tenth of the pH level of the 36 minutes. I have no idea. I'm going to say 4.7. No guarantee. 36 minutes, 4.7. After eating sugar, when is the pH level the lowest? I'm going to say it appears to be here at 4.5. Then the next question, according to the pH, what is the normal pH level of the human mouth? 6.5. What is the equation of the horizontal asymptote? Y equals 6.5. Y equals 6.5. So now let's read this A, B, and C, D. Okay. The mouth pH level over time increases without bound. Oh, we certainly hope not. No. The mouth pH level over time gets progressively further from the horizontal asymptote. Don't forget the test, Dominic. Thank you. So over time it gets progressively further from the horizontal asymptote. That's not possible. That's not possible if there is a horizontal. Yes, any questions? Danielle, go ahead. Kaya, go. Okay, the test is a week from today. 1 week from today, Thursday. Whatever that day is, the 30th, I think. 20, no. What is it, November 1st?
Yeah.
November 1st, thank you. The mouth pH level over time decreases without bound. No. The mouth pH level over time gets progressively closer to the horizontal asymptote. That's the meaning of the horizontal asymptote. That's why the horizontal asymptote is there. Yes, part D, correct. Use the graph to describe what happens to the pH level during the first hour. Okay. The pH level starts at 6.5, then decreases rapidly for 24 minutes. For the remainder of the hour, the pH level gradually increases back towards 6.5. Correct. The pH level starts at 24. No. So it's wrong. The pH level starts at 4.6. No, that's wrong. Okay. Last problem on this handout. Solve the rational inequality and graph the solution set. You don't have to graph the solution set for me unless you want to, but I only want to solve this, and then we can stop. So we have x plus 7, x minus 9 over x plus 5 less than or equal to 0. How many factors?
3.
Good. So x plus 7 is 1, x plus, it's x minus, sorry, x minus 9, and x plus 5. And now I have room, see? X plus 7, x minus 9 over x plus 5. This time I did not run out of room. So x goes from negative infinity to infinity. And now carefully, let's put those numbers on the side before we put them in the table. So we make sure that they are in the correct order. So which number for this is the 0? Awesome. Which one for this?
9,
And which one for this?
5.
Good. So now we know that the order, the correct order from left to right will be
-7, -5.
perfect. So x plus 7 has a 0 at negative 7. X minus 9 has a 0 at 9. And x plus 5 has a 0 at negative 5. Now we have to identify what happens at all those numbers to the ratio.
0, undefined, 0.
Very good. 0, undefined, 0. Do you all agree with 0, undefined, 0? Since all these three are linear functions with positive slope, what will be the sequence of signs for all of them? And I don't have to worry about it.
Positive, negative, positive.
Very good. It's based on the end behavior of polynomials. Or just plug in a number. In the first subinterval, I see 3 negatives. The sign of the outcome. In the next subinterval, I see 2 negatives. The sign of the outcome. On the next subinterval, I count 1 negative. And on the last one, I don't count any negatives. Now, right now, final answer depends on this. This tells me which sign do I pick. I pick negative indeed, which is this here and this here. So therefore, I have to pick the corresponding x values that make the product to be negative. So x in the interval is found in the interval. Which interval?
Negative, -7, bracket.
Bracket -5.
Careful. I cannot put a bracket at -5 because of this. Only at -5.
9.
Very good. Any questions for me?